Welcome back to the workshop. As you can see, the straight axle blazer has returned, not by choice. One of the connecting rod bearings decided to spin itself and is now not having a very good time. Yeah, so we're swapping the engine out, but the focus of this video is actually going to be undoing this steering screw up. This was actually the steering linkage as came on the donor vehicle. It's basically two of these, but they heated up and bent this one, and it's creating a huge amount of bump steer. So we went and bought a kit. It's got a DOM tubing center section for the upper and the lower. It was intended to go on top here for the crossover, but it's just a little too tight on the leaf spring there. So we're going to run it on the underside, and then I'm going to cut a spacer. It's going to need to be probably at least 1.5 inches tall, just to get us up, and then the linkage will run all the way across there. But the idea is the more level you get this bar, the less pronounced your bump steer will be. So ideally you'd have this thing dead level, which if it was the different style knuckle, we could do a proper high steer kit and it'd be dead level all the way across. You'd never have any bump steer issues. But we're going to try and do the next best thing. Get this piece as close to level as possible, and it should be okay. But yeah, I'll definitely roll video while we're putting this back together. I still got I just mocked up one of the pieces so far, but the other one will have to get mocked up. But we'll see how it all plays out. All right. So the way this is supposed to go, I'll just kind of hold these pieces up so you can see, is this bar is supposed to go up on top here like this. Almost looks like it's just not quite enough room for the leaf springs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mount it on the underside here, just like the factory bar is set up. But first thing we need to do, figure out how long we are center to center. So it looks like 61 center to center. Okay, so we got a little bit of wiggle room. Probably going to cheat these out just a hair. I'm going to go to weld them in. So we have the maximum amount of thread engagement. On the edge of being too short. Just going to cheat these out a little bit when we weld them up. It'll be okay. It'll be perfectly fine for this application. Alright, so after some careful measuring, we're still a little bit shy of our center to center. I'm going to double check that here in a second. So we're at 60, and I bumped this out from that shoulder to that edge. It's now a 1/2 inch gap. And just double check my measurement. Yeah, 61. So once I get I'm going to tack this in place real quick at this little gap, and then we'll remove the old steering linkage, do the rough alignment on the front end, because I got the wheel set straight ahead. So we'll just mock everything up straight ahead in proper alignment. So there. I just realized this center section is 54 inches. So that leaves, to get center to center, is set 61. So I need to center this up at 3.5 inches. Should get us, helps if you undo the bolt the right way. Okay, so 3.5 on either side. So we're getting close. Probably another turn. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, 3.5, that looks pretty good. Dug through the bolt pile a second time and found a bolt that I think will work for mock-up. It's kind of a long one, but it'll be alright. Not quite as thick. Okay, so that on there, that on there. Kind of figured I'm going to be running a spacer on this to get it clear, so we're probably going to look at about a 1-inch spacer. Throw that on there for right now. Okay. Got a 1-inch spacer cut. Should give us the clearance to go up over the top there. I got the whole thing aligned. Put this pipe on. This first piece. See how much we need to remove. That is going to be close. Should clear though. Okay. That. So you just need to pop that off and it should be good. Alright, well this pretty well concludes this project. I would have liked to have gotten this bar a little more level, but that just really wasn't in the cards and keeping it fairly strong. I ended up having to make a step over adapter, and it's actually, the way it's kind of set up, when it's pushing, it's actually pushing hard up against that edge there, so we're not just relying on the bolt to hold it all together. I probably should have machined that out of one piece, but you know, it's got a lot more weld and metal than the actual bolts holding the whole thing together, so we should be okay. Probably could have loaded this bolt in, you know, either direction, but I just loaded it going up, so it kind of captures it either way. Ground my welds down on the tubing. Again, probably didn't need to do that, but did it anyway. Yeah, overall the kit worked pretty good. Yeah, the only thing that sucked is because of the placement of these knuckles, is there just wasn't enough height to clear the leaf spring and clear the rim at the same time. Just kind of a weird conundrum. Maybe it would have been better with some bigger wheels or something, but I mean it's close. It nearly does clear, but just not quite. So I'll bring it around to the other side here real quick. Left the one tire out in the rain. I also would have liked to have ran this joint on the underside, but when we go full stop, there's not a whole lot of clearance between the leaf spring and the crossover link there, so it has to be on top, I guess. Might readdress it if it becomes an issue, but I don't think it will. It's definitely a much improved setup over what was on the rig. I also got the removed the cushion ram. Unfortunately, the spacing on the U-bolts here just a little too narrow to fit on the pipe, so I'll let the owner take that home and try to figure that one out. But yeah, overall it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, and again, it should be much less prone to bump steer, and it's a lot easier to adjust. It only took me a few minutes to set the toe and then set the the position, the wheel position. I locked the steering wheel straight up, so when I was setting it all, once it looked like it was in the right position, that should be just fine. So, and again, if the owner wants to change it, he can always just loosen up the nuts and make a quick adjustment. So, I guess that's about it for this one. I'll leave you with some good detailed photos of the setup.